Sorry,
Callback
asynchronous programming is callback via the set timeout. The other one is promises. Okay, so before promise, there is a just a minute question. What would be the output of below code? Set timeout, it is taking an arrow function, and inside function body, there is a log message. And the time differs. So what would be the first output?
Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
All of you agree with this? So
Yes, ma'am.
it wait for 3000 seconds. If it is waiting for 3000, whereas this is for 1000 and it is waiting in a queue. And after that, this will wait for 5 seconds and this is waiting for 4. So the least waiting time. So it starts from high, followed with how are you? Because it is going to wait for 5000 at the time, whichever is waiting in the queue will get triggered. Try the same and check in your console or alert. So moving on to the next topic, promise. The word is familiar to us. So day-to-day life, we are keeping promises to our dear and near ones. All right. Implementing promises. Yeah. Tell me what type of promises we will make in day-to-day life to our dear ones, or what promise that your parents, or it's time. So we are giving promises to our parents. Can't you relate with? Okay, I'll tell you a simple example. I got that. So let's assume you missed sessions and continuously you were late to the session. On 4th day or 5th day after the warning from the faculty, what promise you are giving to the faculty?
From tomorrow, I'll be on
Not
time.
repeating again.
You will give a promise like,
Not repeating again.
You will give a promise like, you will
Running
be
late
on
on
time
time.
tomorrow, and you will not repeat the same. Or we will respond in such the way, if you are not join the session on time tomorrow, you will not allow to attend the session. One promise. So either I am giving a promise, you are giving a promise that either you will join a time, or let's take the least scenario. You will not repeat and you will join the time on time. I am giving a promise to you stating that if you join the time, I will let you in. If you not join the time, I will not let you in. Whether promises, okay, let me go for another example. So whenever we are in a school days, so when we request for something, so our father or parents will promise us, if you get a good result, we will buy you something. We will take you this vacation. We will buy you a bicycle. We will buy you a video game. So if you take all these scenario, these promises are for present or for future?
Future.
Relate. Not for present, for future. If you not join session on time, I will not let you in. If you get the good result in upcoming the exam, I'm promising you, if you get a good marks, the promise is you will be getting a vacation on the desired place. If the promise is not kept, what will happen? Take this vacation. Let's assume you have not scored a good mark. What will be the other side of promise?
Plans will not execute.
The vacation plan will be cancelled. You will not be let into the session. So, indirectly, I would like to say promises will maintain two states. One is successful completion, the other one is failed case. Let me get into, and again I'll come back to the example with the technical term. So whatever I said, it's for real time understanding. So whereas if you take JavaScript, promise is considered as an object. So and promise will work in asynchronous action that may complete at some point and produce a value. Wait, before this, let me go to the next. So whenever there is a promise object, whenever the promise has been made, either you made a promise to me or to your parents, or the parents promised to you, it will be resultant as two state. So whatever the action needs to be happened, whether it will happen, whether it as planned, if it has happened, it will be enter into resolve state. And the state will be fulfilled and you will get the result value. Whereas the other side, if you have not kept on the promise, you didn't get the good mark, you are not on the session time. So it will be, promise will be enter into reject state. The state will be rejected and it will be an error state. Do we come across on this error category in core Java under which topic?
Exception. In the exception handling.
Same. So there it is core Java exception, whereas here it is based on the promise object executor state. So promise, and by the way, it works in asynchronous action and it will complete. So once it is complete, depend upon the results, it may produce the value which is expected, or it may be resultant as error. When the promise object is created, it takes executor function. Nothing is new. We will be giving function to promise. Promise new is equal to new promise of. So executor, I'm going to give a function. Nothing is new. Everything is a function. So I'm going to give a function as a parameter to the constructor of a promise. So the function will take two parameters, which is a callback. One is resolve, the other one is reject. Resolve is a successful fulfillment of promise. Reject is a rejection. Wherever you are, whenever if you are making any future promises, depend upon the action on tomorrow, the promise will be resultant and two state. One is resolve state, the other one is reject state. Introduction is clear. Shall we get into the topic? Promise in JavaScript. Guys, and before, guys, shall I or
Yes, ma'am.
tell me something?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Depend
Yes, ma'am.
upon the action, it results. Right. So before this example, I would like to discuss on these theory. So promise can be in one of the three states. Pending state, either it has not started, it is in an initial state, it is waiting for the action to happen, or it is rejected state. Fulfillment in the state, so as name implicits, it indicates the action was performed successfully. my resolve is done. My resolve method is called. Whereas the fulfillment is not done, it will be entered into reject state. So there is a 3 states of promise. One is initial, not started, successful completion, reject state. So promise, it's an object. You will be creating an object using the regular constructor, a new keyword. After that, you will call 2 methods for promise. I'll repeat again. So promise is an object. It's a returned object to which you will attach a callback function. So that callback function result, it can be into 2 states. One is resolve state, the other one is reject. From name onwards, you can guess. This is my successful completion, resolve state. This is reject state. Resolve can be handled with the help of then method. So then is a resolve handler. Successful completion. So whenever if you want to handle successful completion and the respective action to be handled, you can use then state. If there is a rejection, in order to handle a rejection, you will use the method catch method. Please don't relate with exception handling. There the story is different. Here it is different. Programmability, you can have at this touch. But then and catch is totally different. So step number 1, you will create an object. Step number 2, you will pass callback function. Based on the function return result, my promise will be entering into then method or catch method. Then is an resolve handler. By the way, what is you mean by the technical term handler? Did I introduce this term before? The word handler. Anyone
Which
can
handles
answer.
the exceptions.
No, don't relate with exception. Yes, Tejas.
Ma'am, in exception also you can.
It is just a function. Handler is it's a function block kind of a thing where I'm going to taken the request to the next state. Indirectly, I can say handler is also a function. Here I'm going to call then and catch function. So then is called as resolve handler. Reject is called as, catch is called as reject handler. In general programming term, handler is a method. So successful action, we will call then. Failed, we will call catch. So then is used to retrieve the result of promise. Here it is used to retrieve the rejection of promise. All right. Shall we have a sample demo on promise?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So they want to use this online rate API, but the thing is this API is not working. So I used that pet, whatever the online free API is available. I used the same and I'll retrieve the result. Please, 1 minute. I'll it's okay. So if I search for any online free fake REST API, so whatever the thing we discussed yesterday, one is JSON placeholder. Many fake REST APIs are there. You can take any of this. Shall I take this to-dos? Guys, shall I take this API
Yes,
link?
ma'am.
Online
Yes,
API.
Yes, ma'am.
I have an existing demo. I'll use. So please come along with me. A simple demo for promise. So before this, I would like to introduce the topic called as AOXIS. Listen, asynchronous programming with promise. I would like to remind we are in asynchronous programming. We started with set interval and callback, which will asynchronously work based on time period. Here, one more topic is with promise. So as we all know, both the topics are asynchronous processing. So in promise, when you are working with promise, in order to make an online API call, we will use AXIS, AXIOS. So if I want to use any of this RESTful service online API to connect with my JavaScript and to handle with my promise, and I want to connect that with my promise object, I have to use AXIS. It's an open source library that allows you to make an HTTP request. What was the object we used yesterday to make this call in JavaScript to make a connection with our RESTful APIs? And we
XML.
processed
XML HTTP request.
all of you. Yesterday we used in JavaScript in order to make a call and in order to make an HTTP method call, we used XML HTTP request. Can you recollect? So today the topic is promise. In JavaScript, if you want to make your program is a client. So I want to make a promise-based client in JavaScript or Node.js, irrespective of anything. If you want to make an asynchronous promise object, in order to call those REST APIs, you have to use this open source library, Axos. Shall I proceed? If you want, I'll search some theory for you. So yesterday we used XML HTTP request to interact with server. So we interacted with online server as well as the local JSON server. Whereas Axos is in JavaScript. Can you read the theory? So what is it? It's an open source library which will helps you to make a HTTP request. We can also use for get, post, and delete. So mostly it's a promise-based HTTP client for a browser for both JavaScript and advanced scripts. Axis makes it easy to send asynchronous HTTP request. What we did yesterday is just slightly differs with here. So today, if you want to make a call, HTTP request asynchronously using promise-based, we have to use this open source library, Axis. Shall I continue with my demo? It's not a big deal. So how we created an object yesterday? So yesterday we created an object and then we made it a ready state and then open state, send state. So in order to add that open source library, can you see line number 13? That's all. So whenever if you are making a promise-based application, please include line number 13. This is an online source to add accesses in your JavaScript. Shall I continue?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll repeat. If you want to use Axis, you need to include this online script link. All right. So I have a body tag where I have this div element. Here I'm gonna to embed the content. So my div ID tag is app. You have a reference to your Axis as well as script. So let me go to my script. Look into line number 3 and 4. I'm sure you are familiar with 3 and 4. I am getting element HTML element app and I am adding an inner HTML heading 1 tag and the message is it's not currency, JSON placeholder to do list, sorry, list data, some message. Please look into line number 7. So what is your understanding on this line number 7? What is this word promise? It is just an object. So by using this object, we are making an access call and we are fetching the respective to fetch the required data. So I want to fetch the data from this online RESTful service API. Please look into line number 7 and line number 10. So executing the promise. So promise is having two methods. So promise object dot then. What is this response? Whatever the result I'm getting from this access date link. So that will be stored in response. From the response, I'm fetching the data and I'm displaying in response data, and same data I'm adding in my inner HTML. So 1 second before, what are all the data is there? All right. So these are the data I'm having. I'm having user ID, title, and the completed state. So in that, I have a lot of data. So it is roughly, some hundreds of data is there. Out of that, I want only, what is this? What is the 0 indicates?
Index.
Index 0. Okay, I can make it as index 2 or index. So index 1 dot, it's a key value pair. So let me get ID. So I have hundreds of records. Out of that, all the data will be stored in response data variable. I am getting my first index. From there, I'm fetching only ID and I'm displaying only title on my div tag. So this is successful response. If there is a failure, this is called as success handler or resolve handler. If it is reject handler, there is a method called as catch. So catch, what is this? Arrow. Instead of these 3 lines, can I call a function here? Callback function. I can have a regular traditional way of function and I can call a function. Instead, I can have an arrow function. At this moment, I want all of you to familiar with this response and this arrow and this method body. So promise.then, promise.catch. If it is successful, it is returning as a response. You can give any variable. If there is a problem, it will return an error message that I'm capturing here. Can you relate? I'll check once because I'm not sure. So can you relate with the demo? So this is my placeholder. So out of that, I have so many data. I'm fetching second index ID, which is 2. And can you see the title? I know it is in different language.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you relate? This 2 and this title is responding. A simple demo on promise, resolve handler, and reject handler. Okay, listen. Let me do a typo. Instead of to do's, so let me give TOD. What will happen? So the promise we made here is we need to fetch the data from this fake REST API. If the promise is not made, what will happen?
Error message.
Error message.
The respective catch block. Error message, and by the way, this is asynchronous. Request failed with status code 404. All right, take time, analyze. So in a concept demo, they want to retrieve foreign exchange, but that API is not working. So I took whatever we discussed yesterday, this JSON placeholder type code. So there were a lot of things. You can use any of this. I used to do's. There were 200. We are retrieving the second index. In order to use access, you need to include this in your index.html file. So successful call return promise with data, failed call will return promise with error. Can you try the same for your JSON data? Instead of this JSON placeholder typo code form, can you give localhost 3000 post? Will it works?
Yes, ma'am.
It will work. Ensure that your server is running. It should be in watch state, running state. And with that, you can, if there is a problem with server, it will resultant as error handler. Shall we continue with next?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'll complete one demo. The continuation of promise only. So I want all of you to try this. Not now, I'll give you time after break. And instead of this fake API link, you give your own JSON link. And try whether it can able to retrieve the data. And you stop your server and check whether it is returning back with the error. Tell me, we are making an asynchronous request to below code to fetch the data of the user. So HTTP localhost 3000 contacts.
Pending.
One second. Asynchronous request is made to the below data to fetch the data of the user. So whatever I told, no, either for pet details or your own db1.json, db2.json. What would be the state of promise? Do I handled any promise? I received answer, but this is for others. Do we handled promise? So access you can use to get the request to the online call. Likewise, there is a method called as fetch method. If you are working on your JSON server, in order to fetch the information from the server, you can use fetch. Do I make a call on promise? Come on. No call has been made. Then what would be the state of promise?
Pending.
Pending.
So it will be in pending state. So we have three states: pending, fulfilled, and rejected. We just initialized. We didn't know whether the operation has been completed or there is a problem. We have not handled with then and catch. So the state of promise, P is a promise object. By the way, promise, the word promise in the above example is just an object name. Instead of promise, I can use P, P1, P2, which is in pending state. So chaining the promise, can I combine n number of promises? So promise.prototype.then, promise.prototype.catch. So promise will return the promise, then prototype will return one promise. Can I send that to another promise object as an input? Is it possible?
Yes, ma'am.
Come on, please look into the diagram. So I have a promise object. So if it is successful, then. So if it is then, from there I want to return to another promise object. From there to then. By the way, it is asynchronous. If there is any problem, here it will be rejected. If there is any problem, here it will be rejected. Chaining promises also we can make. Please look into this. We are going to travel with this multiple request handling. So I have request 1. I am getting the response. So this response is going to give us an input to another request. Another request. So likewise, we have multiple requests. Based on the result, we are going to give us an input to another request. We can able to handle this multiple requests in 2 different ways. So one is by using callback, the other one is by using promise. Look into this example and can you relate with the sprint? Can you relate with the topic? What is this demo is all about? On looking into the data, can you recollect the sprint? Do we come across on boards?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
List, cards, command. Okay. The idea behind this is impedance mismatch, but we are not going to okay, I'm giving you time. Assume like all the board informations are available in board.json. We have list, we have card, and we have comment, and we have activated our server, and we are calling all the data with the respective server link. So localhost 3000/boards, list, card, and comment. Please look into first line. Tell me, fetch data. We are fetching board data. And what we are doing? What is this response? We are fetching the detail and we are giving it to, we are giving into the second list. The response of 1 has been given as an input to another request. Board has been given to list, list to card, card to comment. If you are trying the same with callback, you will be doing with left hand side. So fetch data, I am fetching board and I'm giving this response to my list. That I am giving to my card, card to comment. At last, if you look into here, what is the output? We are getting task data dot comment equal to response dot board renderer. We are calling transform and we are passing the 0th index, so 1 record. first decade, we are passing to a transform method. Assume like I have a problem with my comment. What will happen? So everywhere you will find an attached error block. So if I have a problem with comment, what will happen here? It will trigger to this console.error. If I have a problem with card, this is not working. My server is off. Or I have a problem with this link. This error message will get popped up. If I have a problem with list, this console error. If I have a problem with board, it will go to attached. This error. So board is connected with this. This fetch method is connected with this error. So multiple requests. Of course, it is leading to a callback hell. Whereas if you look into the right hand side, tell me what is an improvement. We are making an API call, then at last one catch. All right. So I'm not going to stop my screen share. You analyze for some time. Again, I'll continue my explanation after a break. You can take a 10 minutes break. Come back. We will continue with callback hell with this promise topic. And promises array. With this the session is getting over. So no problem. I'll take another half an hour time. Okay, it's around 4:15 in my clock. We'll continue at 4:25. I'll check and I'll update you, Hasib. I'm checking my mail. No new topic, continuation of the same. Okay. So just tell me the technical term, whichever I'm highlighting. So tell me whatever, okay, let me confirm who are all back. Hope you are all back, please confirm. Okay, Priyanka, you there? Priyanka,
Yes, ma'am.
are you speaking? Yeah. So I made a selection block. There is a fetch data method. I am passing the URL and second parameter. So what is this response arrow open close, which is called as? Technically, we will call this as, I'm asking about this block. What is this? Kudus, Richa, Sanjay, Sudeep, are you back? Okay. Vivek Kumar, you want to give a try? What is the selection portion?
Callback function, ma'am.
It's a function. We can call it as a callback function. I am passing a function as a parameter. Priyanka, is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So I will be getting an output from comment. That is gonna to give us an input to my card. One another callback function. Fetch data. Fetch and fetch data is used to fetch the data from the server in your JavaScript. And this is my callback. So what is happening here? I have how many callback function?
4.
All of you agree there were 4 callback function. Starting from this response, 1, 2, 3, 4. So for each callback, we have an attached error block. So when you are going with regular callback functionality, it is mandatory you need to define for every callback function, you need to attach the error to display what type of error. Whereas if you look into promise, so I have only one catch block, irrespective of any callback is having a problem, any then function is having a problem, all the error will report it to my error block. If there is a problem with my board, if there is a problem with my card, if there is problem with command, irrespective of any, then it will come and it will go to my attached catch. So comparing a regular callback and the other one is using promises. So this may lead to a confusion. Whereas in order to overcome this callback hell, we have the concept of promise. Shall we execute and compare this callback hell and promise?
Yes, ma'am.
Nothing new. What is our sprint 2 is about? Which is a continuation of that. You remember this impedance mismatch? Same thing we are going to handle with JSON server by comparing callback and promise. So I have a ready-made demo. So caused by coding with complex because of nested callback. Every callback takes an argument previous callback. It's very difficult to read and maintain. It leads to a confusion. To overcome this callback issue, we are introducing the concept of promise. Make API call. So we will be getting this callback hell and here I am. Yeah, callback hell and promises. This is demo 2. Let me go to demo 3. This demo 3, demo 4 is not new to us. This is your replica of your sprint 2 impedance mismatch. So all the file remains same. So board renderer, expected output input.js transformer. Additionally, we have, tell me what are all the additional things we have inside this file. Additional files inside this JS folder. Starting from
db.json modules.
This will come along with JSON. Yeah. Because we are going to retrieve from this JSON file. So I have board. All the data is available in JSON format. Board, list. I'll show you the count, by the way. No need to go to script.js. So import, transform, fetch. What is the URL I'm going to fetch? So where is a method fetch data? Yeah. So fetch data, I'm going to call. See here. So fetch data is taking 3 parameters. The first parameter is URL. Second is success. The third one is failure. So we are passing board. If it is success, it will enter into list. If it is failure, it will enter into this error block. So likewise, we have fetch data called 4 times. Each time I am passing URL, success, failure, and I'm sure these code are not new to you. Once if the ready state and the status is, I want to return back my response in the form of JSON. In order to convert any data to JSON, we have stringify. So in order to convert also, we have parts. But the problem which we are discussing is executing the same with callback, overcome the problem of this callback. So one function, inside I have another function, same function I'm calling. It is a kind of recursion, but I will not say it. This idea behind is different. I am passing my function. So recursion, same function again, but here number of times I called. Can you see? Fetch data has been called 4 times. I'll show you the output. Do I make any mistake? No, I don't have any problem. And the data is existing db.json. Default port number is 3000. Let us see in 3000. Let me execute my index.html. So, of course, it will take a lot of time. What was a command which I shared if you are facing the problem with browser? See over us. This Chrome. I'll close everything. I'll launch again. Wait. I don't have problem with this. Maybe 1 second. I may. No, everything is fine.
And there are 2 db.json created.
Wait. Ensure that you are executing the command in JS folder. Mistakenly, I chosen this folder, the primary folder. No, wherever you script, execute it. Watch. What is my JSON name? db.json. That. It's not starting. 1 second. Output is not a very big deal. I'm sure you got this output. Board, title, card, and the board list, card, and comment. Shall I make a mistake in my code? Then we'll see what is happening. And we will compare both promises code and this callback. Go to your script.js. Let me do a mistake in my cards. Refresh. Can you see the error message?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
But again, I'm repeating, we are doing with callback, same function, fetch data is called 4 times. For each method, we need to pass URL, what should be my success and what should be my failure. Shall we compare the same with the next demo using promise? With instead of 4 error block, instead of having 4 different error, same. Demo 4 is about same, fetching the taskboard data using promise. Please look into the code, script code. We are making a call, we are passing the URL, and this URL is gonna to return as an access call because I'm gonna to connect with my server. So this is a object, promise object. I am passing the URL. So when it is success, what will happen? This block. When it is error, irrespective of board, card, comment, it will go to the attached one and one catch. The idea behind is I have 4 promise then object. If it is error in any of the state, it should be like indirectly I can say all the 4 resolve has to be at a successful stage. If anywhere you are facing the problem, it resultant as error. So please compare this callback. So instead of this multiple callback, you can overcome with the help of promise object, then and catch. So multiple resolve will have only one reject handler. Dependent. One, that's what I'm telling. Comment input, whatever we are getting from comment, that is gonna to pass as an input to card. Card to list to board. Yes, Joel, you want to say something?
No, ma'am.
So this is just a demonstration. Instead of going with a regular function, you can try the same with promise. So this is all. Sprint is also a simple sprint. So whatever we tried yesterday, can you try with promise? Wait. So you remember the code which we tried yesterday, same time around 5:37, the code. Instead of regular function, can you create a promise object and you can try with then and catch?
Yes, ma'am.
Nothing new. So whatever we tried yesterday, so I have 3 HTML. You decide. Either you can go for what is that, online API, or you can use the local server. So either you use any JSON server, JSON data, you pull and push, or you can use online API. But I want you to perform instead of regular function. I want you to perform with promise. Listen, if it is successful, the data will be pulled or stored. Else, catch needs to display the error. If the server is not running, server is stopped, catch needs to be triggered. Wait. I'll confirm the same. Once it is done, same thing they want you to give a try in your sprint. I'll confirm. Wait. For today's sprint, it is develop promise driven HTTP client. So whatever we tried yesterday with respective to this 3 text box, 1 button, we are into client environment. But this time you need to persist the data using promise driven HTTP client. Context is one of the way making web application interactive to make a call to access the data with external APIs. This can be done using synchronous as asynchronous. Today you want to make asynchronous. So XML HTTP request makes you an asynchronous call and provide response. However, this response event handler are required if there is a response. If there is an error, for multiple nested call, the code became too complex. To overcome that, you need to create a promise object. This promise object, then you need to make an XHR request and return the response. If there is any problem, you need to go for catch. The problem statement is you need to develop a promise-driven HTTP client with XML HTTP, and you need to make an HTTP call, but by using promise, resolve, and reject. Again, I'm repeating, you can try the same. So whatever we tried yesterday. So we stored the data in the JSON server with respective to JSON file. Today, you need to try everything inside promise then. If there is a problem with the server, your catch needs to respond. Is this clear? What is there in index? So you can directly call script. If you want, you can keep your HTML controls, or even if you want, you keep a static content. I don't have a problem. And under script, instead of regular way, what you need to do? You need to handle with where you need to handle. You need to handle everything with your promise then. So this block is used to store the record, and this is used to fetch the record. So you try for store, later you can try for fetch. You need to create an object that return promise. Create an object of promise driven client and ensure storing record adding in your JSON server and record display fetching and displaying in your HTML page. Guys, you got the requirement of today's sprint. I'm literally worrying on your understanding of topic. A step ahead today, I said you can continue the same demo, even not sprint, you can continue the same demo. But what you need to do additionally? Ashmita, what we need to do in today's sprint? Ashmita, I called you. Kudus, with the existing sample, what you need to do with today's sprint? Kudus, you there? What is the problem? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible. Yes,
Ma'am,
ma'am.
you are audible, ma'am.
Ashmita, I called you, no response. Kudus. Praveen,
Yes, ma'am.
so what you need to do?
We have to use then and catch
You have to use
store
promise.
yes, store and retrieve the data.
So first of all, you don't need to retrieve. You store the data first. Either you use HTML control and store, or you give a static value, static ID. You give ID colon 501, pet name colon pet name and category ID, and try to store. Instead of regular function, you want to try with promise, then and catch. Will you able to perform?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Please do it. It's 4:50. If you have done that, I'm accepting. So this is what we need to do for the sprint. As of now, you do storing, then we can do retrieval. Even they provided the existing code instead of alert. Before alert, you need to add the respective XHR code. Do it.